What's good? It's your boy Fanon. As we know, we're going to talk about the welterweights today. I know today is a big day for heavyweights. Anthony Joshua and Joseph Parker are fighting later today. Probably going to do a live stream for that one, if not during the fight, definitely before it or immediately after. But in order to do that and talk about this subject and other ones during the live stream, please subscribe and hit the bell icon. And that way you can know when the live streams will happen. I don't do them on a regularly scheduled basis, like a time during the day. So the best way to get notified is to hit the notification bell. And it should be a lot of good conversations today. We got a lot of very mature and knowledgeable boxing fans that attend the live streams. We're regularly getting a couple hundred people in there at a time, having good conversations back and forth in the comment section. So please, hope you accept my invitation to attend the live streams. And once again, the best way to do that is to hit the bell icon. Now, before I move on and we deal with the heavyweights, I'm going to do a video. This video is going to be about one welterweight championship, which is the Jeff Horn versus Terence Crawford fight. And then probably after this, I'll do one about the other three belts, which are right now, at least two of them are completely locked away because of this injury and this inactivity of Keith Thurman, which he's got to crap or get off the pot, man. But before I get into that one, Jeff Horn, that's what you get for dealing with Bob Arum, man. These dudes are hot. The promoter for Jeff Horn is hot at Terence Crawford, calling him all out of his name, calling him female body parts and all kind of other stuff because they lost up to $1 million because this fight was rescheduled. Called him a pussycat without the cat part on it, and said he's soft. And I can see why he'd be hot enough to say that because, hey man, you just lost $1 million, but that ain't on Terence Crawford, in my opinion. That's on Bob Arum. That's on Bob Arum because, number one, I don't believe the hand injury. I'm sure something little something might have happened to his hand, but let's be real. This was more about changing that fight to when they would be able to televise it on that new ESPN app because Bob Arum didn't do what he was supposed to do. Or he probably promised you guys, which was that it was going to be a pay-per-view worthy fight because Manny Pacquiao would be on the undercard, and that fell through. But let me go through what they said. And once again, man, don't get hot at Terence Crawford. I mean, you could say it was his little hand injury or whatever, but hey, man, but you got to be careful when you're dealing with what Uncle Bob. He ain't my uncle. He that creepy uncle dude be sitting outside the playground staring at kids out of his window. Jackass. Can't stand Bob Arum. Anyway, Horn's promoter rips Terence Crawford. He's soft. Dean Lonergan, promoter of WBO welterweight champion Jeff Horn, is not very happy with the new date for his boxer's mandatory defense against undefeated Terence Crawford. The fight was initially scheduled to take place April 14th at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, but Crawford withdrew after suffering a minor hand injury in training camp. Earlier this week, Top Rank officially announced the new date of June 9th at Las Vegas MGM Grand. The new date presents an issue for Horn and his promoter and may cost them a lot of money in broadcasting revenue. The fight was going to be on pay-per-view in Australia, but now there's a conflict because Main Event, Australia's main pay-per-view carrier, is already committed that night, as they are carrying Robert Whittaker's first defense of his UFC middleweight title, which is the main event on UFC 225 in Chicago. Because UFC 225 has already secured the pay-per-view date, Horn's bout can only be shown on Fox Sports or on a commercial network. It is being estimated that Horn and Lonergan, by missing out on their cut of main event revenue, will cost them more than $1 million. Lonergan places the blame for the scenario on Crawford, as the Aussie promoter is not convinced that Crawford had a serious injury. It is going to cost us quite a bit of money if we don't get on there. Lonergan said it to the Australian. I've been appealing to Bob Arum at Top Rank to change the date. He doesn't want to know about it. He has issues around the complexities of his deal with U.S. broadcaster ESPN. They plan to heavily promote the fight and ticket sales during Game 4 of the NBA Finals, but that's not helping us with the pay-per-view down here. Yet again, Duco and Horn have to pay the price for that pussycat, Terence Crawford. This is going to add to the belting Terence Crawford is going to get. This all came about because Terence Crawford lost his nerves. If that ussy had hardened up, we wouldn't be at this point. He's soft. No, friend. I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. Who's not hearing it? Bob Arum's not hearing it. Who are you asking? Did Terence Crawford decide the date? No. Terence Crawford didn't decide that date. Bob Arum decided that date. And he had complexities. You know what the complexities around the terms of the contracts are? He cannot afford the fight. He cannot afford the fight. It was supposed to be a pay-per-view show, but Manny Pacquiao said, no go. I'm not going to be on the undercard for this fight. And just coincidentally, and I don't like coincidences, but if you like coincidences, that's fine. You know, hey, man, call it like you see it. What I saw was Terence Crawford had a minor injury to his hand the same day that ESPN announced that they were going to be moving this bout between Terence Crawford and Jeff Horn to the ESPN Plus app, which will now cost us $5 to watch. Oh, excuse me, a subscription, $5 a month to watch. $5 a month. So if you sign up and watch this fight, you might forget to do it. And who knows, man, you might have that thing running for the next 2 years. And so who knows? I'm not going to do it. I say I'm not going to do it. God dog it, I'm going to wind up doing it. But I'm going to try to write it off as a tax deduction or something, dog. I got to find a way. Because this is raw. It's ridiculous to got to pay for this fight. But it is what it is, man. But that's good news for the Aussie fans. Hey, the Aussie fans get it for free. Shouldn't you be happy? Shouldn't you be happy, Jeff Horn, and happy Dean Lonergan, that you now can be seen by more people than would have been able to see it on pay-per-view? Right? Isn't that what it is? Isn't that the line Bob Arum will sell about how great it is that it's on free TV? Well, now you're on free TV. It'll build your profile. More people will see it in Australia. You'll do well. I'm quite sure you won't get the brakes beaten off you by Terence Crawford lose that belt and all of a sudden you just be ass out. Because that's what you probably going to be. Butt out because of who? Not Terence Crawford. Because of Bob Arum. Call it like it really is, man. Call it like it really is. You got yourself a belt with Manny Pacquiao. Bob Arum promised you a rematch with Manny Pacquiao. That was going to be for big money down there in Australia. Bob Arum did not deliver. He did not deliver the rematch with Manny Pacquiao. So then you're in a situation, Jeff Horn and Dean Lonergan, when you fight Gary Cochran down there. You got your ESPN dates. You only got one more fight. But what happens? What happens before that fight? Immediately, the WBO names another top-ranked fighter as the mandatory. Before you even have your first defense, you already know in the second fight of your contract that you have to fight Terence Crawford, who, no matter what you say about him being soft or what you say about whatever, is far, 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 far from a soft touch, far from easy money. This isn't any type of way. He ain't treating you just re-up, dog. And did you re-up? Did you re-up with Bob? I don't think you did. I don't think you re-up with Bob. So that's where you are, man. That's what happens when you deal with the snakes, man. You know, you get bit. You get in there with a snake, you get bit. But like I said, don't blame Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford isn't the one that couldn't get Manny Pacquiao to sign to fight Lucas Matisse on the undercard. Terence Crawford isn't the one that couldn't get Manny Pacquiao to take the rematch in Australia. He's not the one that did that. Terence Crawford is not the one, more than likely, that negotiated with the relationship with the WBO, a good enough relationship with the WBO to mandate this fight in your second title defense, which just so happens to be the last fight, the last option that Bob Arum has. So, this is just a situation where I say I don't feel sorry for you. I don't feel sorry for you. If you want to do something, get smart, get a hand injury. Hey, get a hand injury. Push it back 2 weeks. How about that, man? And then, what's wrong with that? What are they going to do, snatch your belt? Oh, I hurt my hand too. I can't fight on the 19th. We got to move this to another date. Dog, get smart, man. Don't get mad calling somebody out. For $1 million, if you're going to lose $1 million, man, please. You better catch you a Keith Thurman. You better catch a Keith Thurman. Go on ahead and, bump your head on the bathtub on your way out, something like that, drop a fish tank, cut your foot, do something for $1 million. But you're going to get all rough and tough and take the fight on that date. And then you deserve what you get, dog, because Bob Arum's not playing fair, man. He's not playing fair. Now, some of you guys can believe that Terence Crawford really got hurt, and maybe he did. Maybe he did. But maybe it could have been a situation like, oh, man, really? Okay, well, that'll help. That he did hurt his hand. And, hey, look, I don't know. Can you fight with it, Terence? Yeah, I could probably fight with it. But look, let's do this. We're going to push the fight back because, honestly, Terence, I was going to have to tell you anyway, we got to push the fight back because I can't afford – because Manny Pacquiao, we were supposed to have it at this venue. It was supposed to be pay-per-view. We did the profit and loss statements on everything, and honestly, we can't afford. You either got to take a pay cut, or you just got to nurse this injury for a couple more weeks, get it right, and we'll announce later today that there's a new there's a new app, and that way we can't necessarily put it on pay-per-view, but we can put it on this for pay app, which can allow give ESPN enough room to pay for the purses, or, we'll give you a back end on the deal, as far as like the monthly subscription or whatever. But those are in the word. That's the key paragraph in this article. Lonergan says, I've been appealing to Bob Arum and Top Rank to change the date. He doesn't want to know about it. He doesn't want to know about it. He ain't trying to hear it. That's translated into American English. And yes, people who said there's not an American English, yes, there is. There's Australian English. It's the colloquialisms. It's the phrases. Sometimes it's the spelling of words change depending on what country you're in. So when I say American English, I mean that the way that people are, or the phrases that are typically used by Americans, he doesn't want to know about it, means he's not trying to hear it. He don't give a blank. You can kick rocks. Who cares? That's your problem. All of those type of things that Bob Arum more than likely would say, man, please, I don't care. Show up that date. If you don't show up that date, I'm going to sue you. I'm going to sue you. Man, Dean Lonergan, get smart, man. Don't pull out the fight. It's your belt, man. Threaten. Do what he does. But, hey, man, I'm a big believer in that, man. When somebody ain't playing right, ain't playing fair, the rules have now changed. If you believe that Terence Crawford is just being a softie, and him being a softie has cost you $1 million, why in the world would you let that happen? If all you need to do to get on pay-per-view is not have it on that date, why would you be available that date? What's wrong if Terence Crawford can push it back 2 months because of a hand injury? Why can't Jeff Horn push it back a week because of a hand injury? Because he got cut over his eye again, and now he needs plastic surgery. Any kind of issue to push the fight back. Read the damn contract carefully. Find out what type of scenario what type of injury, some type of situation that fits those. Go find a doctor to co-sign you, and then say, hey, you know what? Sorry, man, we can't do August. I mean, we can't do June 9th. Can't do it. Sorry. It's got to be, when is the UFC got a free date? I mean, when main events, when you got a free date? You know what I'm saying? And lock it down, dog, because it's got to happen, man. Don't throw $1 million away in that type of scenario. Now, I'm not saying just do some Keith Thurman type of situation where you just get injury after injury after injury, just conveniently getting you out of fights you might not want. Now this new Keith Thurman deal, that might just be that he's breaking down, dog. He's the new he's just the Derrick Rose of boxing right now. Extremely talented, has 2 of the belts, except for when Derrick Rose got injured, he didn't keep the MVP. The MVP went on to the next dude. And the Chicago Bulls eventually parted ways because no matter how talented he was, he couldn't stay healthy. So, I don't think that that's the case. I'm not quite sure if that's the case with Keith Thurman, but regardless, man, there's more than one way to skin a cat. Why would you, if I'm Jeff Horn, I'm saying, hey, look, man, here, if somebody changes the rules on you, and you can be silly if you want. I mean, not silly. If you believe that this is just coincidental. I mean, this Bob Arum must be the luckiest dude in the world, where it just so happens that he has a fight that's fallen apart for the date that he wanted. It just so happens he never secured the venue. He didn't start selling tickets. He didn't promote the fight at all because the top guy on the bill didn't sign up for the fight. And it just happens, just completely lucky that Terence Crawford gets his hand hurt. And then all of a sudden that justifies them moving the fight back. And since they moved it back, oh, wow. How fortunate is this, Bob? Well, guess what, Bob? We were just going to release this ESPN 2 Plus app where we can charge people for the fight. It might not be pay-per-view, but you have to have a subscription for the channel so we can allocate more budget for this fight because now we'll have a stream of revenue to go against. And we'll actually use this fight to advertise our ESPN Plus app. How convenient is that for ESPN? How convenient is that for Bob Arum? If you think that's convenience and that's just okay, that's just the roll of the dice, okay, good for you. And like I said, like I'll tell you, like the old saying goes, I got a bridge to sell you in Brooklyn. This dude is not telling the truth. Bob Arum is lying yesterday, and today he's telling the truth, and tomorrow he'll be lying again. So if you want to be Mr. School teacher, Mr. George Washington, I cut down a cherry tree because I cannot tell a lie. First of all, that whole story's a lie. But if you want to play it like that, and lose your $1 million. I don't understand why you would. I would turn my ankle tomorrow morning for $1 million, for more, at least $1 million. Man, when Terence Crawford beats the brakes off you, Jeff Horn opens your face up. You don't have a rematch clause. Who are you going to fight next to make that money? Who are you going to fight next? But his promoter want to call him a coochie, His promoter got lost money, but his promoter got multiple fighters with him. Duco Promotions is about to get paid this week. Duco, your boy Dean Lonergan can get upset, Jeff Horn, but he's getting paid this week. He's getting a big cut off Anthony Joshua and Joseph Parker. That's a big chunk of money for him, man. He's making more money off Joseph Parker in this fight than he's going to make for the fight with Terence Crawford. And I do believe Bob Arum is partnered up with him, right? Yeah, isn't he like a minor promoter? Isn't there like a little bit of a partnership in there with Duco Promotions? Funny that the guy that has a partnership, your promoter, who has a partnership with another promoter, is blaming the fighter and not the promoter. What a shock. What a shock. He's a promoter, Jeff Horn. He's a promoter. Dean Lonergan is pointing his finger at the wrong dude, Jeff. He's pointing it at Terence Crawford when he shouldn't be pointing at Terence Crawford. He should be pointing it at Bob Arum. Bob Arum's not having any of it. What can Bob Arum do about you spraining your ankle and not being available for that date? What can he do about you, spraining your hand and not being available for that date? Aren't you the champion? They can't just go fight a voluntary. They have to fight the champion. You got the belt. If Terence Crawford doesn't want the fight, then, hey, you keep your belt and you move on if he can't make the date. You're the champ. But anyway, do you. And with that, I'm out. Peace.